The South Carolina Education Oversight Committee sent a proposal to the State Board of Education that would make biology teachers do something called teach the controversy when addressing the subject of evolution. They passed the idea by a vote of 7-4, and this is a new technique that religious fundamentalists are using in a lot of the red states to try to sneak creationism into the classroom. See, what they're doing is they're moving the goalposts. So first, they wanted to just flat out teach creationism in the classroom, but of course that was struck down by the Supreme Court a long time ago because it's clearly unconstitutional. And then they said, okay, you got us. We don't want to do creationism. That's fine. We get it. We'll do intelligent design. Now, what is intelligent design? It's nothing but a watered-down version of creationism. It's just the God of the gaps idea and that argument presented as if it's fact. They try to present like, well, we don't have this piece of the fossil record, so we don't really know if evolution is true. I guess it could be true, but God had to fill in the gap. God had to connect that part to that part. So the only possible explanation is that. So again, it's a sneaky way of trying to get around banning creationism. And then courts also decided, well, you can't do that either. You can't do intelligent design. So that is when they moved to the idea of teaching the controversy. So what is that? That's where you present evolution, sure, but then you say, well, some people don't believe that, and they believe this. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying they believe that there was Adam and Eve in a garden, and the world is 6,000 years old, and some stuff happened, and boom, that's it. So it's another way to try to go around it. But the only problem is that there, of course, isn't a controversy. There's no controversy in the scientific community, in the expert community, in the intellectual community. They know, no, there's one side of this debate. There's evolution and nothing. There's a bunch of evidence for that and none for any other position. So don't teach the controversy because there is none. But one of the lawmakers, I love this, sided with the silly idea that we should teach the controversy, and he was debating it on Twitter last month. Because what good lawmaker doesn't debate on Twitter? And somebody said to him, this is a great point, quote, there is zero physical evidence that anything from the Bible is true. There's physical evidence for evolution all around us. And Senator Mike Fair responded. He said, quote, eyeball equals creation. Wow. That's so ignorant, it hurts to even report it. Look, the only way you can believe that is if you don't know how evolution by natural selection works. And what I find is that whenever somebody doesn't know how evolution works, they haven't read about it, the second that you present them with an easy, understandable explanation of it, they have the aha effect. They go, oh, okay, I get it. That's why we appear to be so designed. You know, because that's the oldest argument for God in existence, that, oh, we're so designed that there's got to be a designer, right? And evolution by natural selection is able to explain that design without invoking a God. So we know why we look so designed, and it's not God. Now look, the question of abiogenesis is a different question, which is the other point that they make, which is, oh yeah, well, where did the first organism come from to begin with? And science has a bunch of different hypotheses on that. I don't think there's a settled-on theory yet. Nothing has been proven yet. But all you have to do is get that spark for life, and that's it. Then you have a perfect explanation as to how we exist, without having a designer and without having even an initial God, like a deistic God that just sets the ball rolling in motion. But even going a step further than that, to say that because something is designed, it needs a designer, which is his argument. Eyeball equals creation. Oh, it looks like it's designed, so there's got to be a designer. That's beyond ignorant, because that is its own fallacy that I've described on the show to you guys before. It's called the fallacy of passing the buck. Now, what is that? Well, it basically means that any God that would create us, of course, since it's a God, it would have to, by definition, be way more intricate and way more complex than us. Because if it's able to create us, it's got to be so much more superior than us. I mean, that's a given. Just by definition, you can see how that works, right? So then, who designed the designer? Because you're admitting the designer's got to be complex. The designer's got to be this, amazing thing because it's able to create us. How do you create something so designed if you're not yourself uber designed, more designed, right? And then you extrapolate that ad infinitum. Is there a designer of the designer? And then is there a person who's a super designer that designed the designer? And then is there a super designer that designed a super designer that designed a designer? So is there a god and a super god and a super god and a super god? It's a self-defeating, it's a contradictory point to make. So clearly he hasn't thought this out. Clearly he's not well researched in logical fallacies. Clearly he doesn't know science. But unfortunately, these are the guys that are setting education policy in South Carolina.